Marianne, Liddy, and Abby, thank you so much, for coming and talk to me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Well, we love what you're trying to do. It's so important. So
It really
I'm
is.
happy to be here.
So to start off, the three of you are obviously, politically involved, aware of what's going on. What would you say to those young people in college or in high school who say, I don't really care about politics?
I would say I actually just graduated from college, and I was the same way when I was in college and in high school, and saying, oh, no, politics, not interested, even though I lived in the political world with my family. And once I graduated in May, it really, on graduation day, I was like, wow, the majority of students from my college that are not employed, just kind of the circumstances that are going on right now in the country scared me. And it's like, once you kind of graduate and have to be an adult, you realize, wow, I need to worry about taxes, I need to worry about healthcare, and it's just so important that, we are the future. Our generation is the future, and, I think that we really need to stand up and put someone in office and rally behind someone who we think can, better our future and make a difference, because I think right now we're really struggling.
I think they need to feel a part of it. They need to really connect with something and feel like this really actually makes a difference in their own lives. I think if they think this has nothing to do with me right now, I want to focus on whatever I'm doing at the moment. So to really let them know that this is really for our generation. It's really all about, the next few years, and we really got to get this economy back on track. And I think once they step back and realize, graduation's coming up, this is really important. Whether it's healthcare or tax, whatever it is, it affects them very much more than ever has probably in years.
Yeah, in the 2008 election, when I was, I was 16 at the time. I couldn't vote. I was trying to, get other young people to vote. When I was asking them what issues were most important to them, I heard the war. I don't want to have a draft. I don't want to, go to Iraq or Afghanistan. I heard about healthcare and a little bit about education. But right now, it's mainly just the economy, and that's all we hear about.
It's so interesting because the last election cycle, you're right, it was all about the war and different things that were going on, and now it's all economy. And I feel like the young people are starting to get more involved than they ever have been in the past. I remember when I was in high school or even junior high, and we weren't really involved as much, and I feel like this generation is getting a lot more involved.
I think technology plays a huge role in today's, the election process, because you have Twitter, you have everything's online, everything is so fast. So I feel like the opportunity for our generation to get more involved is better than ever has been.
And I feel like also bringing back the economy, how it's our number one, in 2010, 76% of students on graduation day were unemployed. That is really scary.
Yeah,
and
many of them are going back to their parents
and
basement.
They're going back to school, and because they don't know what to do, and the jobs that they wanted at the end of college are not available, and they work so hard in the undergrad. And I don't know. I think now we really need to focus on the economy and who can kind of bring us back.
In terms of political beliefs, parents, are a tremendous influence, on young people, and some would identify as Republican or Democrat just because they were brought up that way. Are there any positions
we disagree on
that the three of you disagree on with each other, or with your parents at all?
Well, to be honest, in high school, I went through kind of a weird phase, and I would always, research all of these, different stances. So I'd always debate my dad on them, and of course, at the end of it, he was right. He knew exactly the right. So I've always kind of stood where I think
we've all gone through different stages where we believe certain things here and there, but in the end, we've all
come back down to
we've all pretty much come back to the middle. And
we're a very, very close family, and so at night we'll have our dinner discussions that are so entertaining because we're so many of us that everyone's giving their opinion, this and that. But
sometimes
at the end
food's
of the day,
thrown, it's wild.
At the end of the day, we all pretty much feel the same way about things. Well, I guess we've had some
but
issues.
our dad always has the best argument.
And we also have seen, we've seen how remarkable of a leader my dad has been through every job, and he's clearly doing something right with his philosophy and whatever. And I think that the American public would just realize that and see that. I think we'd see a lot of great changes for the United States. And so that's why we're so confident being out there and standing 100% behind our dad.
I want to talk about the first time each one of you voted.
I was 18 when my father won for the election for governor. So I actually went with my parents to vote, and I remember there were...
You were older. I was 18.
I think I was 18 when I first...
Because I voted.
No, but for this election cycle, I would have been 19. So yeah, this was my first time voting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember there were cameras everywhere because they were following my dad at that point. So it was very... It was kind
different
of a different
experience
than most people. But yeah, I just remember, you know, what a unique opportunity to be able to vote for somebody who you believe in. So that was my first experience of voting.
How about you?
I was 18 and the same thing. I had the opportunity to vote for my dad, which was pretty cool. I obviously voted for him. But the rest of the elections going on, you feel like you're a part of something, which I thought was kind of cool. And you sit there and I think when you actually get to the voting booth, you look at the names and you think, who do I really feel like is going to be best for the job? And sometimes I think your vote can change very last minute just because of the feeling you have when you're in there and how you want the country to move forward or whatever. It's a really cool process though, and you really feel a part of what's going on when you vote.
I think if I can add to that, the worst thing is going in when you know nothing about any of the candidates. And it's like, okay,
you feel like
you're
almost making it worse.
So it's more exciting, and I want to tell this to all the youth. It's so much more exciting going into the voting booth when you have someone who you believe in, or you have someone that you want to make a difference in this country. So.
Liddy?
When I was 18, I think we were in the middle of Bush's administration when I was in high school. And I will admit, for the second election, I actually did not vote because I did not believe in any of the I just didn't. I was not. I don't know about any of the candidates.
That was the phase she was talking.
Yeah,
about.
that
the
was
phase I
the
was
phase.
going through. But I actually, I will admit, I did cry that night because I was supposed to have an absentee ballot, and it didn't arrive in time or got lost because I was in school in Philly, and so I wanted to do it through Utah, and so I don't know. It was a really rough night for me. I don't want to talk about it because
yeah.
there was just a lot of emotions.
A lot of people have problems with absentee ballots, and I feel like our generation is sometimes disenfranchised because there are so many problems with these ballots. Do you think that, those that are in college, do you think they should be voting absentee, or do you think they should be voting absentee in their hometowns, or do you think they should be registering where they reside and go to school?
I think it depends on what state they're from. If you were from California versus South Carolina or Iowa and you wanted to vote for a certain, I don't know, I think it definitely depends on where you're from or the state that you're in school.
It would make it a lot easier if everyone was able to do it where they were at the time. So
Yeah,
on election day, everyone goes out wherever
agree.
they're from, wherever they are, is able to vote. I think you would see a much higher
Because
turnout.
a lot of times it's hard to get back to your original state.
I do think that would make it a lot easier.
Do you think that election day should be a national holiday where everyone has off from work, or do you think it should be on a weekend? Do you think that would motivate more people to get out and vote and increase
I think
the voter
everybody
turnout?
should have to vote.
Have to vote. You think everyone should legally
No,
have to vote?
I don't think that it needs to be a holiday. I think that's what's great about our country is people should go to vote because they want to vote,
And you have
it
the
should be.
choice.
And if everyone can make the time to go vote if they need to. I think it makes it hard sometimes in the middle of the week, but I don't think anyone should be forced to vote.
To those members of our generation that say they don't want to vote, why should they vote? I know we talked about the issues a little bit before, but what would you say to them right now? I don't want to go and vote. I don't really care. Why should you go to the polls?
It's about them. It's their future. I mean, they are the ones that this campaign's really going. Their lives is what's really it's going to be affected.
And I think more than ever, I think our country, we've never been in a place like this. And it's terrifying. It's extremely scary that I think more than ever, we really need to focus on, because whoever we elect this time, is really going to affect the next little bit. So
I would also say get to know the candidates. I mean, be excited to go in and vote for someone. Don't just say, I'll go vote, I'll figure it out then. Really read up, because they're all so different. I know they all have different stereotypes, but if you really look and read their record and who they are as a person, I think they'll really get behind someone they believe in. So that's the one advice that we can give.
Back to the absentee voting, and there's these new, voter laws in 34 states across the country, where Republican-controlled legislatures are passing laws to try and, some people are saying, disenfranchise young voters or minority voters, creating voter ID laws where you have to have, an ID from from that state, a student ID doesn't count, and they're also limiting early voting. What do you think about these new laws?
I think it just hurts the the turnout. I think that everyone should, you should make it as easy as possible for people to vote, because it really is, everyone should have the opportunity. It's their country. I mean, we're all a part of it. That is really going to hurt.
Clearly, I'm an example of that from getting my absentee ballot mixed up. So it should be easier. I will say, and I know voting was in the middle of like midterms. It was like such a stressful time, and getting the absentee ballot and trying to figure out who to call and what to do. It's really a big hassle.
You said you're the tech nerd. You know, you all are on Twitter. You're on the internet. What do you think about voting on the internet, voting online?
I agree with it, but I think that there's so many ways you can rig it, and I think that the old-fashioned way of voting is kind of the way, and I think it goes down with, like, it's just been in our country. That's just how we've done it, going to the voting booth, and it's such an experience to go in. So
yeah,
I
there's
feel
something
like
about going
the
to
internet,
that voting
it
booth.
wouldn't, I don't know. I think it would kind of lose its touch.